Hey guys, let's talk about tonight's episode of The Flash. And we got a really good backstory on who Jay Garrick is. And he is another speedster just like Barry. And he is kind of from an alternative universe. And when they did the singularity 6 months ago to try to save Starling City, he was sucked into this and brought to Starling City, and he's been here for about 6 months, and he's been studying and casing out everybody, and this is the first time he has shown himself to all the members at the new Stars Lab. So it's a pretty interesting episode. We get a nice backstory on him. We find out, he worked in a lab and something went wrong, and that's how he got his powers. And he's been a speedster for around 2 years. And when he was in his universe, there was a man named the Zoom who was trying to kill him. And now this man is in this time, on this earth, trying to kill Barry. And we saw we got glimpses of him in last week's episode when Barry was trying to take down the bad guy in last week's episode. He said a couple words at the end, and he said that the Zoom was trying to kill him or sent him to kill Barry. And obviously that's going to continue to happen until someone is successful in taking down Barry. And why does the Zoom want to do this? Because he wants to ultimately be the only speedster out there. He wants to be the fastest. And he tried to kill Garrick for the last 2 years, and now it looks like that now that he's in this on this earth, he wants to do the same thing to Barry. So bring on the villains. And in this one, we get the Sand Demon, and it's a pretty cool storyline, B story, and ultimately Barry ends up taking him down by using a lightning bolt to hit his body, which ultimately then turns him into glass and he shatters everywhere. So that was a pretty cool death for the metahuman. And but what it really did was bring Jay Garrick into the fold, and Barry was finally able to trust him. Now I like the scene that Barry had with Iris when she said, who are you? I don't recognize you. You're not my best friend. You're not the Flash, the man, the guy that we've all known over the years. And this is a result of, obviously, Dr. Wells. And Barry is very reluctant to trust anybody because he gives Jay a really hard time, and he doesn't know if he can trust him. He doesn't know if he's just sent there or he's here just to spy on them, get information, and use him, the team, like Wells did. So, of course, Barry is very right to be apprehensive, but at the same time, Iris makes a good point that if the team doesn't think that Barry trusts them, then they will soon start putting any trust in Barry. And I thought it was a really nice scene that they had, and I think the show has done a good job with this Iris 2.0 and bringing her into the fold. She knows all the information about Barry. She knows all the information about her dad. She knows all the information about the team. And now she's not this sole person in the dark while everybody else is trying to figure out who is trying to destroy Barry or Starling City. So I like that they've brought her into the team, and that she's there. She's equal parts. She's not a scientist, she's a journalist, but she's at least in the know, and they're not trying to keep this information from her. One very interesting part in this episode we found out was that Joe was not answering a certain phone call, and then we found out who it was and why. And it turns out it's Iris's mother. Say what now? Because I think Iris believes she's dead. So this is going to be very interesting. And we didn't really get to see very much of her, but she's back. So that's going to be very interesting. We also got introduced to a new character. Her name is Patty, and she wants to be on the Metahuman Task Force. It looks like one of these metahumans, I can't remember his name, Mark Mortar or Mark. Anyways, one of these baddies killed Patty's father when he was at the bank and shot him in the face, and she wants to be on this task force to take down the metahumans. Now, she had quite a few scenes with Joe in this episode, and she had a couple scenes with Barry, and they had some nice little chemistry there. So I wouldn't be surprised if the show ends up going in that direction. I mean, we all know Iris is a potential love interest for Barry. Last season, I felt like they just didn't do them justice in letting them, her be in the know of what was going on. So she always just felt like an outsider. He was never really honest with her, so he was lying to her for the whole season. So I just don't think that that really helped build the relationship between the two of them. Do I consider them best friends? Yes, absolutely. Do I see Iris and Barry right now as love interests? No. And I hope that they get me to the point where I can see them that way, because I'd like, if the show's going to go there eventually with the two of them, that it feels like it's earned, like they got there and I witnessed that happening. So right now, them working together as a team, as best friends, works for me. And if this is going to be a new love interest potentially for Barry, or for Barry, that will work. So obviously Jay looks like he might be a new love interest for Caitlyn, which is fine because, I don't know how long he's going to stick around for. Obviously, he doesn't have his powers right now. He's on Earth or on this Earth, and he doesn't have his powers. So I don't know if he's going to try to get back to where he's from and how long he's actually going to stick around for, but we'll see how that plays out. And then, of course, Cisco was having those flashbacks or flash forwards again. So, he's trying to sort out what's going on with him. He was able to touch something, and then he was having the vision of Patty being kidnapped and where she was. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there with his storyline. And now that Dr. Stein is aware of what's going on, I'm sure he's going to try to help him figure out what is going on. So we did find out that there's like 51 or 52 cases where somebody got through the portal and is now on this Earth from the other alternate universes. So obviously each week we're going to come in contact with somebody new. Now, are they going to be bad? Are they going to be good? We don't know, but it'll be interesting to find out, to see what happens. And at the very, very end, we saw what seemed like a futuristic shot of Star's lab, but she was talking about it. Star's lab was invented in 1991, and it was where they did all this research on metahumans and artificial intelligence and everything. And then she's like, "Oh my goodness, everybody! It's such an honor. We're And she introduces who it is, and it's Dr. Wells, looking quite dapper, I must say, in his little suit. So this must be in the future, and he is still alive. So what is going on there should be interesting. But yeah, a pretty solid episode. It was good to see that Barry was able to trust Jay, and it'll be interesting to see how they move forward. I like that little conversation that they had towards the end when Jay was like, "So I hear they call you the Scarlet Speedster," and he was like, "What do they call?" And then Barry was like, "What do they call you?" And he's like, the Crimson Comet," and it was just like, so it was just cute that they were sort of, relating on the same level, and Barry was able to relax a little bit and start to trust somebody again. And of course, all the scenes with Joe and Barry are always great. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens when we learn a little bit more about Joe's ex-wife. Should be interesting. All right, guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you thought of this week's episode. I did enjoy it, and I want to hear your thoughts. Comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next week.